UAD2 users can now have a plug-in version of the Valley People Dyna-mite. It's made by Softube and I'll demo it for you. Check out.
Valley People Dyna-mite is a very versatile dynamics tool which came out in the early 80s. You can limit, compress, expand, gate, and even de-ess with it. However you use it, it has a very distinct sound character. I'll show you some different uses of dynamite, and I'll mainly use a drum recording, but obviously the unit can be used for much more than just drums. The dynamite is well known for its super aggressive limiting, so I'll start out with that. To use dynamite as a limiter or compressor, you set the mode switch to limit. After that, the detector switch lets you choose between peak or average level detection. We added a settings window to the graphic interface of the plugin where you can see what settings you've made. I'll start out with peak detection, which will make dynamite work as an extremely fast limiter. Here's the clean drum recording first. And here's dynamite set to peak limiting. Quite obvious why it's called the dynamite. Now I'll switch the detector to average detection instead. In this setting, the dynamite has a slower attack, letting the peaks through. You'll hear how the attack of the drums gets much sharper, which is useful to make the drums pop out in a dense mix. Here's the original again. The dynamite has a second detector switch, which affects the unit's sidechain. Here you can activate the de-esser mode, which makes dynamite respond more strongly to sounds in the upper mid-range, where you'll find S sounds from singers. Because if you limit a vocal hard, you'll often have the problem of S sounds popping out too much. But de-essing is not only useful for vocals. Listen to what happens to the cymbals when I set it to de-ess. They get more limited, because most of their energy resides in the upper mid-range. You can try using the de-esser on a guitar to get rid of some string squeaks as well. Now let's try dynamite for gating and expanding. I'll use it on a snare drum channel and set the mode switch to expand and the detector switch to gate. This gives a hard gate setting which completely shuts off any sound that falls below the threshold level. You can clearly hear how the gate takes away the cymbal leakage, which will solve any phase problems you might have with the overhead mics. You can use it in a similar way to get rid of headphone leakage of a vocal recording. But the gate can also be used in a more creative manner. I can turn down the release time to make the snare sound shorter, which makes it tighter and less ringing. Let's hear it in context. But perhaps you find that a hard gate like this makes the sound unnatural and chopped off. In those cases, you may be better off with the dynamite used as an expander. Keep the mode switch to expand, but move the detector switch to peak. As you can hear, the low-level sounds aren't aggressively cut off, just turned down a bit in level. You can also set the detector switch to average when you use dynamite as an expander. Just like when you used it as a limiter, it now responds more slowly. So as you can hear, the attack of the snare drum is softened with the detector set to average compared to peak. Okay, so the last thing I want to show you is the range knob. Let's switch the detector back to gate to get a hard gate setting again. Now, if I turn up the range knob, it effectively works as a volume knob for the low level sound that the gate takes away. So in essence, you can use this to get expansion, but with more control over the comparative level of the sounds that are above and below the threshold.
Thanks for watching this demo of Valley People Dyna-mite. Download the demo and try it out for yourself. Bye for now.